You're listening to the Yin and Yang Show, a marketing and sales conversation with Lindsay Kelly and Brian Signorelli. Strategic and tactical advice about inbound sales and marketing.
Hey, welcome back to the Yin and Yang Show. Thank you for joining us, as always, for a fabulous sales and marketing conversation, all wrapped around inbound. I'm Lindsay Kelly with Prospect Builder, joined by my HubSpot friend, Sig. Hi, Sig.
Hey, Lindsay. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I almost made a big public no-no on Facebook Live.
Yes, you almost got us banned. You almost got us banned.
Yeah, it would have been a content problems with Apple and Facebook.
Nice.
Seems like not a great way to start a day.
Right? But yeah, Sig was saying that he, I think we've all done this before, accidentally just reached in and grabbed a cast iron skillet, not thinking that there would be a requirement of a pot holder of some sort, and just learned the lesson the hard way.
Yeah, it was probably 7 or 8 years ago, and my right hand just turned to, it wasn't even blisters, it was just kind of bright red, and it was just done. And it was like a different level of pain. It was like a sickening pain where you actually, I don't know, you feel nauseous or something. It was very, very weird. Had the chills. It's like probably, I don't know, a second-degree burn or something like that.
No, thank you. No, I burned my hand stirring really hot mashed potatoes one year at Thanksgiving. It was one tiny tip of my finger, and it was, you would have thought I burned my whole body. I was like, oh my God.
It's terrible. Yeah, I did full hand. I went in and grabbed the whole thing. It was just, sear the whole palm, the fingers, everything. It was just brutal.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's
kind of the equivalent of putting your hand straight on a hot iron,
Right.
Basically what it is.
Not good.
Not
good. But I understand that, today we're going to be talking about website traffic and no-nos and things that are misconceptions. And I'm going to use very general numbers for some of our clients. But first I wanted to say you're apparently going to be a podcasting fool today. I hear you're going to be joining Selling with Heart.
I am, yes.
Later today with our friend Larry Levine and Daryl Amy. That's
right. Yes, I am. I'm going to join them for their show today. I don't know if it's getting published, somewhat soon, but they just said they had a session coming up, and we're just going to do today, and it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I don't know the topic, don't know what we're talking about, but
it's kind of like us.
Yeah,
sometimes. Well, that was the case today. And luckily we have a content bank of things. We have a content calendar that doesn't have specific dates, because it's always good to have a content calendar set up, whether it's for assets or blogging or whatever type of content you're going to be doing. This is content, producing this as a live Facebook endeavor, as well as then posting it on our website, SIG. And then we also produce it as a podcast. So it's multi-purpose. But yeah, no, check out Selling with Heart. You guys can find it on iTunes, I believe also on Stitcher. And great sales conversations. They always have great guests, and today SIG is going to be their guest, but I think it publishes on Saturdays. So on Saturday.
Okay, got it, yeah. So we got all recording out the door. So yes, I am going to be a podcasting fool today.
Fabulous. We love it. So I want to take everyone back to when we first started with Prospect Builder in very early 2015, January 2015, kind of actually into December of 2014. And we were going in, and I had already been with an agency that was mine for a couple years before that. So I already knew HubSpot. I knew all that stuff. And I really didn't work with office technology folks. I had one office technology client back then, but the rest were kind of all over the board. And we were able to take some of the numbers from HubSpot and kind of show clients the anticipated expectations for, this is how much traffic you can get. This is how many leads you should get based upon the numbers. It's all numeric. It's all math. So long story short, we realized about 6 months in that this is the office technology world. They use their website as a place for their clients to come and request service and request toner. And a lot of them use the contact us form to get service because they don't know what else to do. And we were like, well, crap, that's half their traffic. We went into Google Analytics and we started looking at the entry pages and the exit pages. And pretty much across the board, 50% or more of the traffic that was coming to the website was going directly to the service pages and leaving on the service pages. So right there, my office technology friends, that amazing traffic you think you have, cut it in half, okay? It's very challenging to eat that piece of humble pie and go back to your client and say, okay, so those numbers that we had with that great traffic and these leads that it should be converting, let's start over and show you the real numbers because they're much smaller. And so that was not fun. But, you know, God bless our first couple clients. They've been amazing. They're still with us. And, you know, they're right now, one of them has seen, since they started with us back in early 2015, their organic traffic has increased 307%.
Wow.
Organic traffic. So, you know, year over year, they've seen great numbers. And, but at first it was like, you're going to see this much and this much. And then we realized the error of our ways. So when I was presenting to a client the other day, we did our annual review and I'm looking at the numbers and I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. When we first started, and I didn't even call this out, it kind of just was one of those in the back of my mind things. When we first started, their traffic was about 50-50. It was like 50% people coming from organic or direct or referral. And you know, just to explain that, because yesterday I actually had a client stop me and go, I'm sorry, I'm really, really sorry. What is referral? And I was like, that's a really good question. Referral traffic is, so let's say that you have been featured as a difference maker with ENX magazine, and there is a link to your office technology dealership website. Somebody clicks on that and then they go over and visit it, you know, but they clicked on it from ENX magazine's website. They have referred that person over to your website. That's a referral. So I was like, oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I should explain what these things are. Social's pretty self-explanatory. Email's pretty self-explanatory, but referral was like, oh yeah. So the 50% of the traffic was coming from, you know, your email, your social, your organic, and your referral. And I looked at their numbers and the split changed. So now there's only about 38% of their traffic that is going to the service pages. That's great. That means there's been a lot of growth. So something to look at. It's tough to sit there because I'm totally guilty of this. When I worked inside of a dealership, I was like, look at these numbers. They're great. I never took that step back and went, all these people are coming in and putting in their meter reads and all this other stuff. And that's not real traffic. So,
So a few other things I'm curious to get your story on about the traffic itself. So I see that mistake happen a lot. People think that they have all this website traffic. Turns out that a lot of it's, for example, customers in this case, really good example because it's people coming back, like making orders and trying to figure out how to get help with something. Some other areas that I've seen people mistake traffic for are their own employees' website traffic. So they're not blocking out. It's from two places actually. So one is when your employees are actually at your office, if you have an office. So that basically that website traffic, if you're not filtering out that IP address, basically your own IP address, that gets counted. And then the second is when your employees are actually on your website from home, meaning they're on a different IP address. That's also coming in. And then there's some others that I've seen as well. Things like, you know, students or academics visiting your website, just like no fit or no concept of a lead is what we would call that at HubSpot. Doesn't mean that it's bad. There's just different things you want to do with it. Like you want to be pointing them maybe towards like your recruiting pages, for example, if you have something like that, or if you're hiring. And then the other that I've seen happen too is competitor traffic, which is so you think about it. You know, there's like customers, there's internal employee traffic, there's employee traffic from home, there's competitor traffic. There might be students, there might be academics. The list goes on. Not too much further than that, though. I think those are probably the 4 or 5 big ones. So when you were doing that traffic analysis, like, did you find any of those other groups being present, or?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Or things that you didn't list out?
Yeah, some of the other things, and I counted it because, you know, they're always looking for good people. And so I don't filter out people who go to the About Us page and the careers page and pages like that, because that is, you know, that's viable traffic. They're looking for a job, yes, but they're also exploring the company, and you never know.
Sure.
So we don't filter that out, but we should. But I love that idea of competitors because we use for all of our customers, they're on HubSpot. And so when you are in the back end of HubSpot looking at the prospecting piece inside of the sales tool, you can see the companies who have come to your website. It's an anonymous visitor unless they have actually clicked on a submit button and we have, cookies and permission to follow them around. But most of the time they don't do that. And, if competitors do that, they usually, they're like mmouse@disney.com. And, and that's a real one I've gotten. But you can get their IP address right from there. And you can actually put your competitor's IP address in there and filter it out. That's a really good idea. I'm going to start doing that. I've never thought of that.
You know what happened to, this is maybe a little bit too much information, but at one point, I think it was Acton.
And explain, Acton is a kind of a competitor to HubSpot.
Yeah, Acton is in a similar space to us.
Right.
They compete with us on the marketing automation component of our tools. So basically the drip email campaigns and some of the content management, things like that. List segmentation, list building.
Yeah, but they don't even have probably a quarter of what you guys. They maybe have I should say they have about a quarter of the capabilities that you guys have. It's a good entry level tool.
Yeah, they've got a bunch of tools. A bunch of them overlap. But yeah, you're right. So what happened was Acton actually blocked every single HubSpot employee from being able to view its website.
Really?
So what they did was they actually showed, whenever I would try to go to Acton's website, so what I would have to do is they basically figured out, which is not hard to do. You can go to, I think, the website like What's My IP. There's a handful of others like MX domain or something like that, or something along those lines. There's just basically Google, just like, how do I find someone's IP address? And you'll find a bunch of websites that'll show you that. So anyway, they figured out our IP, which is not hard to do. And they basically, whenever a HubSpot employee would go to the Acton website from the HubSpot IP address, a big image of an elephant standing backwards showed up. So fairly amusing. They eventually stopped it, but they didn't want us to see, I guess they didn't want us to see things like their pricing or how they were positioning themselves or the language they were using or like even blog content or anything. I guess it was, maybe a noble effort, but it's so easy to work around that.
Right. It's use incognito window. Exactly.
Using an incognito window, or you use, just even, use your phone. It's not that hard to do that, or just connect to any other network that's not running off the same IP address. So, but that stuff happens, and you could theoretically, as I'm thinking about it, I think you could theoretically do that inside HubSpot software, where if you block certain, I think you can filter. I think you can do like smart content based off of device type.
Yes, you can.
I don't know if you can do IP address though.
No. You can do country, IP country, but you can't do IP address.
Got it. There you go. Yeah.
So yeah, and that's a challenge for us because we want so badly to be able to do like IP by state.
So what you could do though is like from an anonymous perspective, you couldn't do this, but if you have known contacts in your database, for example, like if you have the Mickey Mouse and whatever, and you have you're fairly certain that like these are just not legitimate contacts, you could theoretically go as far as blocking that, blocking those people altogether by just building a smart list and basically dynamically showing a website page that's like, we're not confident that you're a real person. If this is an error, please email us at whatever your company's email address is or something like that.
Right. I like that because my clients and we've done a really good job of filtering these out as leads, but they'll come in all the time and be like, we provide SEO services, and it's like in India IP address. So we have filtered out pretty much everybody outside of the United States. But I love the creativity of the Acton folks with the elephant. And another true story, fun. It's a very fun office technology at the dealership I used to work with when I first started. They had a really creative ad agency, and their proposal image for the wide format machines was an elephant's butt because it's wide. So, and I remember looking at it going,
I like that.
I don't get it, because I didn't use wide format machines in my previous career, and I was like, wide format, what, like, explain that to me. And I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, and people who actually purchase wide format machines or plotters, whatever, probably thought it was clever. But I'm like, why is there a picture of an elephant on the front of this proposal?
So when you start working with a new client, I mean, you gave that one example, but how, I guess, what two questions. So how much website traffic do they ballpark generally have when you start working with them? Like, about how much per month? And then what percentage of that traffic ends up being not the right type of traffic, or some of the garbage type traffic that we're talking about?
Yep. So about 1,200 visitors a month is average for everything across the board.
Yep.
And organically, about 500 to 600 of that, or about 500 to 600 visitors is organic.
Organic, okay.
Right. So our challenge is then we'll go in and look at all the service pages, and it's typically about 60%.
Are there other, so about 60%, so 60% of the 50%. So let's say it's...
No, overall.
Right?
Overall. Right.
No,
like I use the
so
50 as an average.
Got, so a little bit more than half of all the website traffic they're getting is not really the type of traffic they're looking for from their website, from a sales perspective, maybe.
Exactly. So for instance, the one client that we're working with, our whole goal is to get managed IT services as one of the things that they're known for. And so now, after a year looking at, their pages, it used to be everybody was coming in and they go homepage, service, contact, about, generic things like that. Very, very rarely in the first 10 pages of most traffic pages was there anything to do with a service. The top 10. And so when we did our review with them, it was really exciting because position 3 for most traffic for the past year we've been working with them was the blog. And they had a blog before. And number 4 was the managed IT services page. So it was, it's hard because but it was like such a small number compared to the homepage. It's hard to be like really excited about it. But at the same time, it's like baby steps. Like we're getting there. And, case in point, that 307% organic growth client, we're still not getting the conversions we want. And our industry is so challenging. I literally sat on the phone with that client yesterday and our pay-per-click partner, because we use another HubSpot partner as a pay-per-click partner, because that's a very specific, very difficult area to understand and know. And we don't pretend to do it. So we have a partner for that. But they now have, I believe, four clients who are all copier based. 2 of them came from us, and then the 2 are random. But they're like, this is by far the most challenging industry to get people to convert. And it's true because, let's take a step back and think about it. Most of the time, people are trying to really get themselves out there for copiers. Okay? Take yourself out of your business. Do you really want to download a form about a copier? Really, unless you're ready to make a decision. So everything that we do, we're trying to tie back what we're calling the assist. Because you can't tell me that with 300% growth in all of this stuff, the blog going off the charts with great information and people coming to visit it and read it, you can't tell me that's not helping you sell.
So then what are people looking for help with when they come to these sites? Because I'm wondering if there are alternate ways to engage with them, or if they're expecting something differently. Like, I almost think like I'm sort of trying to put myself in a buyer's shoes and say, okay, if I'm buying a copier, like, how am I actually going to go about doing my research? And if I'm a business owner, maybe I'm an office manager, I probably have experience with this before. I probably already have something existing in my office. I'm probably looking to upgrade or replace something. And so what I probably have are a bunch of questions about different types of copiers or different functionality or whatever. So to me, that almost feels more like a B2C experience, even though it is a B2B buyer, because it feels like a less considered, there is a considered purchase, but it feels like a slightly less considered purchase compared to buying like a giant rock crusher, or buying, like a jet engine, for a plane or something like that.
Yeah, because you're talking about a commodity now. It's a box.
Yeah, I'm sure the copier manufacturers probably wouldn't love me saying that, but yeah, I mean, I kind of look at it that way. It's sort of like I'm price shopping and functionality, I mean, it's along those lines.
I still love all of the OEMs. I love you all.
Right.
However, you all produce a box that produces prints and scans. But now what the biggest challenge is getting out the information of like yesterday. Okay. And this is where, again, this is gold. And I said this last week, service people, like the service managers, are gold. I talked to another one yesterday, and we were able to find out like, there are all of these different apps, and I couldn't even keep up. I'm like, look, I'm 5 years out of this industry now. Like I'm in it, but like 5 years removed from being in the office. And I'm like, wait, so they can do this? And he's like, oh my God, yeah. He's like, all you have to do is go in here and then download this and put this. And I'm like, okay, this is gold. This is different. How are we going to position this as something somebody would look for? Okay. So like, for instance, we're doing a campaign right now for a customer. It hasn't launched yet. It's launching this week, but it's all about being able to track bill backs to clients, being able to print from anywhere. And so these are things that are, different that nobody like the reps go out and talk about this stuff all the time and customers get excited, but go to any, like just Google a local copier company and tell me if you can find software on that website, anything about software that allows you, as Brian Sig, let's say that you had to print things for me or scan things for me and you needed to be able to bill me individually. How are you going to track that? It's more applicable for law firms, things like that,
Right.
But you're like, I don't know, how do I do that?
I have no idea. I would hire someone to figure it out for me.
Right. And that's what they want. They want to be hired. My clients want to be hired to figure it out for them. And they do such a great job at it, but look at their website. It doesn't really talk about it. And so what we're actually taking a step back recently and doing is we're like, okay, let's make sure, first of all, that all of these really cool things are addressed on the website, not just in blogs, but on the website with really super simple things to download, super easy videos. I mean, we're totally going to do a test with them and we're showing how this works. And right before you see how to like produce invoices for these folks, we're going to go, want to keep watching? Give us your email. Oh, you BITC. So
so close.
We're so close to getting it for free. Okay, fine, all the time. So you have to hook them because, and that's what a landing page does for us. Like, so we've talked about landing pages before for downloading ebooks and guides and checklists. You have to make that landing page super compelling. We're kind of like, at the beginning of the video is now your landing page. I'm going to show you this, and this. So once you go here, blah, 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 produces this great report. Now look at what this report can do. Oh, wait a minute. Give me your email. So, those are the types of things like on a website you need. And we embed with Wistia. So we also get analytics in the back end. So imagine somebody's trying to figure out how can I do bill backs to my customers. And they come across a freaking copier company. Like, what? Okay, you guys do software. It's not a natural connection yet. People don't think that way yet. So we're trying to say, okay, what can we produce on this page? Like, let's make them a page about client bill backs. And it's very, very relative to the lawyers, you know what I mean? And so then all of a sudden there's a video and all they have to do is click play. They don't have to download anything. They don't have to give their information to you, especially because, they're lawyers. Like, they're like, what? You want me to do what? So like, we're trying to figure out ways to keep moving them through the buying cycle. Because even if they stop there, they'll have an option below to keep going and look at something else. So if they don't want to do that, okay, fine. Here's something else that you might like. Open this. And some of the things that we do are ungated, so we don't require email. But this is how we're going to start to get the top 10 pages that people are looking at. That's how we're going to start getting those pages up there, is by doing things like that. And Google likes to see that too, like interaction, clicks.
Interaction, fresh content. Yep.
Fresh content. Because if you haven't touched your website in a year, you're in trouble. And right now, all of the copier dealers are going, oh crap, I haven't touched mine in 5 years.
Yeah, there's like some really interesting little things like that. Like, for example, recency of content is a major factor in your ability to get found.
Major.
And second is second, that's like kind of, I think it's something that can go so overlooked, and I can't stand here and tell you what the exact percentage is that it's going to impact your website traffic. But even something like, how long do you own your business's domain for? Is it the next year? 10 years, 20 years, Google actually takes that into account and basically determines whether or not it thinks that you are a going concern as a company, because the less time you own that domain, the lower the likelihood Google thinks that you'll be in business in the next 3, 5, 7 years. And Google doesn't want to serve content to something that's going to be irrelevant in the near future. Again, super small, like, nerdy tech thing or SEO thing, but just something interesting. One thing I was curious to ask you about, Lindsay, as we kind of, wrap up today's show and think back to that original challenge that we posed at the beginning, that most website traffic is crap. What do you do about it? How do you kind of break that? How do you break that news to a client? Like, how do you gently burst their bubble? And then what do you do with them to kind of make them feel okay about what's next and that all is not lost?
That's a great question. And that usually happens in our discovery phase. So before they're even a customer, and my sales guy gets really mad because I literally just start spewing. I'm like, okay, so you need to do this and this. And he's like, would you stop giving it away for free? I just get so excited. But what I'll do is I'll do it live. I'll be like, well, let's go in and look at your Google Analytics. I'm curious to see what your pages are. Like, what's your user flow? There's a user flow in there. It shows where, like, how people come in, where they go next, where the drop off is. So Google kind of tells the story for me. And so I'm able to say, oh, it looks like, you've got some great traction when it comes to, fresh talent coming to your website to take a look at possibly working there. I'm like, so that's great, but look, you have a lot of traffic that goes right over here to your service pages. And once they're done, they leave. And all of these other people are kind of dropping off really quickly. They're not making it to the good content. So let's look at your website and see, like, what kind of options we can give them to keep them there. Because typically it's just, you show up to the homepage and it's like, we sell copiers. And literally. And it's like, where's the compelling
I would have never guessed you sold copiers, because I obviously was searching for that in the first place. You don't have to tell me again. What else do you do?
Right. Well, and that's the problem that we're facing right now, is many people are like, no, we have to have everything. So they all want sliders for all the different products. And I'm like, yeah, like, nobody looks at that. And the questions are being asked. So it's like, are you positioning your homepage to tell a good story? So you can't be all things to all people immediately in their face until you know who they are, and you can create smart content to pop up on your website.
Right.
So if you know somebody is in the market for managed IT services because they've downloaded something, the next time they go to your homepage, you can say, oh, Betty is back, serve her this content instead of our generic whatever. But most of the time it's, literally every single copier dealer that I look at, because they sell so many different things, it's your total technology solution.
Right. I think an important reminder on that too is that like, one of the statistics I love, and I was like 90% confident that it's still accurate. I'll fact check myself after this, but I always like to share with business owners, say, look, like, about 98% of the people that come to your website are not ready to buy the first time they come to your website. But the good news is this: over half of that website traffic is actually qualified in some way to buy from you at some point in time. So don't, all is not lost. The question is, what are you doing to create a different engaging experience so that very first time that someone comes to your site — I'm going to have a sneezing fit in a second, so I'm going to get this out — what are you doing to kind of, earn their trust, earn a little bit of attention? And are you thinking through, does your website, taking yourself out of your own business, does your website pass that kind of 3-second, flash?
The blink test.
The blink test, exactly. Thank you. I was going to say the sneeze test. I'm thinking about sneezing, but yes. The
Sneezing and blinking.
Blink
Look at a bright light, you'll sneeze. And blink.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it in a second. Maybe it's gone. But I was feeling that kind of itch. Yeah. So and then I don't know, any other thoughts or like words of wisdom for people that aren't your clients, maybe who are listening into this, and could be any business owner that's thinking, oh geez, like, I got to figure out which part of my website, or how much of my website traffic isn't good. But, this other guy says that, like, it's qualified. So what do I do about it? And, how do we kind of maybe, are there like maybe 1 or 2 simple steps that someone could take away from this that, might help them feel more at ease, but also kind of, maybe start moving in the direction of a plan to improve the quality of their website traffic over time?
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you I'm going to answer that with a story. So my sales guy had a call with a prospect last week, right after we launched one of our clients' new websites on the HubSpot COS, content optimization system, basically the platform that hosts their website. And when you arrive to this new website, it says, "Are you a managed IT expert?" ? Well, of course they're not. They're looking for one. And so you're literally answering the question in your head. Just like, I think it was you, was it you that said, or maybe it was somebody else that said last week, if you ask me what color is the carpet in your living room, you're already thinking of the answer. So are you a managed IT expert? Heck no. I'm looking for one. Great. So now I know what you do. Right off the bat, I know what you do. You do managed IT. It could be the same for copiers. And so this prospect said, as beautiful as our website is, and they have a beautiful website, you can't tell what the heck they do. There's nothing there that says, this is us. This is what we do.
Yep.
And so take your website to 5 friends that you don't work with, who maybe are hanging out at a barbecue or something. Pull up, grab your smartphone and go, what do you think that this company does? And show your homepage to a friend who really doesn't get what you do. Because really nobody gets what we do. My husband's like, wait, what did you do? And I guarantee you they're going to go, well, I mean, maybe you mean this. Yeah. If it doesn't hit you over the head, it's not effective.
One of my favorite questions to open up a discovery call, or even the very first call I had with, potential customer that I was speaking with, I'd say not the first question, but maybe the third or fourth question at some point. I'd say, hey, yeah, I spent a lot of time on your website and I was researching your business, and I don't mean this to sound the wrong way. I just couldn't quite figure out what you do. Could you explain to me in your own words what you do and what makes that different from other businesses like 1, 2, and 3 that I also researched that look like competitors to you? And oftentimes people realize that it has never failed me. People always say, oh yeah, we're redesigning the site, and they're not redesigning the site.
Right.
They realize very quickly that they haven't looked at it in a while. They probably use way more jargon than they should. They're using terms that, are not written for, I think, what's the rule of thumb that you advise your clients on? Something like, I don't know, probably varies, business to business, but I'm thinking, if like an 8th grader can't understand it, then
it's like the level, it's supposed to be like a 4th grade level or something.
There you go. Even better. 4th grade. I love that. I don't know what I was reading in 4th grade. I'm not sure what my reading level would be, but anyway.
Well, I'm looking at some of the things that my kid's reading, and she's going into 3rd, and I'm like,
did
I read that at that age?
I'm like, I think I was still reading picture books at that point.
No, we weren't that.
But anyway, I think that's an awesome suggestion. I think, just picking some friends, family, or God forbid, ask your customers. Say, hey, we're thinking about tweaking the way that we kind of present what we do. Could I grab you for 20 minutes and get your feedback on where you think we could improve on these 3 or 4 core pages of our website, like the homepage, the blog, the about, and contact us. Like if we were to tweak some of this, how would you do it?
Right.
You've worked with us for 3-4 years.
We would do it. Yeah, we would do telephony, document management, managed IT, managed print services, copiers. Those would be the core, but that's a great suggestion because we call those pillar pages, and that's what we start with.
There you go.
So you've got to have there. It's kind of like a mini homepage for every line of business that you have. So yeah, lots to digest, lots to think about, but long story short, more than half of your traffic is coming in for service. That's probably not viable website traffic. However, I'll leave you all with one quick tip. That person filling the form out 9 times out of 10 is not going to be a decision maker. However, for the one time that it might be, once they fill that form out, make sure that you're leaving them with an action. Make sure that once they click submit and you say, thank you, customer, we've gotten your request for service, or thank you for your meter read. Hey, by the way, we've got these blogs that you might want to check out, or have you been considering a new machine recently? And you can get really smart with this after you know who they are, but at least give them a next step. Like if you do managed IT services and you're trying to let people know that after somebody puts in a request for service, you can always say, thank you, we've got your service request. We're going to take good care of you like we always do. Hey, did you know we also take care of IT needs? ? and give them a clickable action. Say, click here to check out our latest blog about network security. So just a quick tip, quick thought. Don't ever just leave them with a, hey, thanks. Give them a next step. Would they leave or they maybe click?
Right.
So
make it simple. Give them a clear choice of what to do next. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't clutter your site.
Give them one thing.
Add value.
Hey, you can have this, or this. You want to check out telephony, or maybe you want to check out management services. No, give them one thing and test it. Change it every couple months.
Don't be a schizophrenic rabbit or something,
Right. Schizophrenic rabbit. I like that. That's going in the title.
Nice.
So anyway, thank you again for joining us. If you guys enjoyed this, please hop over into iTunes, give us a review. We love that. Give us questions. We're always open to new topics. If you have questions, we're happy to talk about it here live on Facebook, on our video share on our website, also here live on the podcast. And you can always find Mr. Signorelli at Inbound Seller. You can find me at LV Kelly with an EY. And folks, until next time, keep the conversation going.
Yeah, keep talking.
You've been listening to the Yin and Yang Show, a marketing and sales conversation with Lindsay Kelly and Brian Signorelli. Join us online at yinandyang.fm.